While checking my daughter into her first overnight camp, the counselor pulled me aside and said, "She asked us not to call you, but I think you should know why." My daughter Maisie had been begging to go to Camp Ridgecrest for 2 years. 12 days, sleepaway, arts and crafts, a lake, the whole thing. She was 11. I'd finally said yes, spent 3 weeks labeling every sock and hoodie with her name in black Sharpie, driven 4 hours to drop her off, and now a young woman in a green polo was steering me away from the check-in table by my elbow. Her name tag said Counselor Beth. She was maybe 22. She looked like she'd rehearsed what she was about to say and then forgotten it. "I'm sorry," she started. "I want to be careful because Maisie specifically asked us not to involve you, and I don't want to break her trust, but I also think you need to hear this." I told her to just say it. When Maisie filled out her intake form this morning, there's a section where we ask kids if there's anything the staff should know. A safe space thing, totally optional. She paused. She wrote that if anything happened to her at camp, she didn't want us to call her mom. She wrote that her mom wouldn't come anyway. I stood there. She said you always sent her dad instead, and that her dad, she used the word scary. The parking lot felt very far away. I heard kids shouting down by the waterfront. I told Beth she must have misread it. Beth shook her head gently and held out a folded paper. The intake form, Maisie's handwriting, round and careful the way she'd been practicing cursive all year. I read the line 3 times. "If something happens, don't call my mom, she will just send my stepdad and he scares me." I asked if I could sit down. There was a bench outside the equipment shed. Beth sat with me. She said she almost hadn't said anything. Protocol said to flag it to the camp director and wait, but she'd watched me in the check-in line for 40 minutes. She'd watched me fix Maisie's braid and retie the tag on her duffel and hug her for a long time before walking away. "You didn't seem like someone who wouldn't come," Beth said. I told her I always come. I told her I didn't understand. Then I did. Maisie had written that form at 9 in the morning, 3 hours before I arrived, and she'd assumed that if she got hurt at camp, my husband would handle it. Because for the last 8 months, my husband had handled everything. Every pickup, every school event I missed because of my work schedule, every sick day, every time I called and said I'd be late, he was the one already there. Maisie hadn't written that because she was afraid of him. She'd written it because she'd stopped expecting me. I called her back from the cabin line. She looked nervous the second she saw my face. I asked her to tell me what she meant. I kept my voice level. She stared at her sneakers and said she just thought it was faster calling dad, that I was usually busy, that he usually came. I asked if she was scared of him. She looked up. "No, he's fine. I just didn't think you'd want to be bothered." 11 years old. She'd already learned not to bother me. I told Beth thank you, and I meant it in a way that used up most of my voice. I spent the next hour sitting on that bench alone while the camp finished check-in around me. I wasn't going to pull Maisie. She'd waited 2 years for this, but I wasn't going to drive 4 hours home either. Not yet, not with that sentence running on a loop in my head. She wouldn't come anyway. At 4 p.m., I went back to the main hall and found Maisie at an art table with 3 girls she'd apparently already made friends with, laughing at something, her braid half undone. She saw me still there, and her face did something complicated. "You're still here," she said. I told her I wasn't leaving until she did, that I'd booked a motel in town, that I'd be 12 minutes away for all 12 days, and that if anything happened, she should have them call me first. She asked why. I told her because I would always come, no matter what, and that I was sorry she'd ever had reason to think otherwise. She didn't say anything for a moment. Then she held out the friendship bracelet she'd been threading at the table, half finished, blue and yellow. "I was making this for you anyway," she said. And then my phone buzzed. A text from my husband. "Home safe? Long drive back." He didn't know I was still there. He'd assumed I'd left right after drop-off. He'd assumed I would do what I always did, hand her off and go. I looked at that text for a long time. Then I looked at my daughter putting a bracelet on my wrist, and I thought about every pickup he'd handled, every event he'd covered, every time I'd let him be the one who showed up, and I started to understand that the person who taught Maisie not to expect me wasn't her.